feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Report After Dark. I am your host, Seven. My colleagues will be with us in a moment. Of course, to start us off, I did want to do a special thank you to our sponsor, Gunslinger Soap. Gunslinger Soap is handmade soaps and beard products made without all the junk to pamper your skin. You can go to their website, gunslingersoap.com, and sign up to get 15% off of your first order and always free shipping over $30. That's gunslingersoap.com. Definitely check them out. Dan is running a little bit late, but he will be joining us in a moment. Our special guest this evening is the host of the Sports Report on Pinfall Streams, my good buddy, Will Morgan. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, yeah, it's good to be here, my friend. It's good to be here. Sports Report After Dark. It's good to be here. Oh, yeah, baby. No, I'm good, man. I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm just glad I remembered to tell you about the shades because I forgot to tell our guests last week about the shades, and I felt like a dick. Speaking of Dick, he is running a little bit late, but he'll be joining us here in a little bit. Man, so glad that football's back. It's nice to see. I know Buffalo's up on the Rams 17-10 right now. We will keep you updated on the score of the game as we go through the episode tonight. But tonight we are going to have one of those episodes where we have some real conversations. Will and I were talking recently about the difference in how the media presents quirks of athletes that are people of color, mostly African-American athletes, versus those same behavior in white athletes. And the recent discussion around Serena Williams' behavior is what fueled this discussion. And so, Will, I wanted to give you an open floor as we kick this off to kind of state what you're seeing, because of course, as a person of color, you're going to have more specific eyes to this situation. And I've kind of done some research. I'll kind of throw some stuff in as we get going, but I wanted to open it up to you first and just kind of give you the ability to kind of just talk about what you're seeing and how you're feeling and how you think it's affecting things.
Well, my thing with Serena, she's the greatest of all time. Not even
Absolutely.
close. Not even close. That's the first thing you need to go and get that out the way. People keep telling me Steffi Graf is the greatest. No, she's not. Steffi dominated the game during her era. Serena Williams changed it. So that's a difference there. Also,
very fair. Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely.
Also, people keep looking at me and saying Serena off the court this, Serena off the court that. My issue with that is saying, even though social media wasn't around back then like it is now, you put up with the same trash from John McEnroe, the same thing you put up from him back in the day. Some people did call him out for it. I'll give him that. But and social media wasn't like that it is today. But at the same point, if you look at a white athlete acting like that today, it's under the name of passion. You look at a black athlete acting like this, there's some issues. There's something going on. There's something wrong. She's being highly disrespectful. She's being highly inflammatory. But you put up with it from other athletes. If she was white, blonde, and skinny, you would have no problem with her.
Right.
I put in our group page on how she's been the subject of racist tirades throughout her career from the media. Her and Venus both.
Yeah.
Jason Whitlock, who I am calling out personally. You're a sellout. I got issues with you. You sell out. You don't support her at all. It's just an issue with me because I don't put people in a box. I don't put athletes in a box. If you do something messed up, I'm gonna call you on it, but I'm not gonna judge you as an athlete based on that behavior because it's the whole thing at the end of the day. And if you're successful, you had a few blowups here and there, but if you're successful, got the job done, hey, that's what I'm judging you on. I'm not judging you on the blowups over everything else. And that's what a lot of people in the mainstream media seem to want to do. And I just think it's unfair for them to do that because at the end of the day, she is the greatest of all time, gone through the most hell through mainstream media, drawn as an ape, acting like an ape. I'm also gonna bring up another person, Naomi Osaka. We'll bring her up too. You got on her because what's up, Dan? Because she took a mental health break, and we've talked about the first generation dad how important your mental health is. But yet, the same people in the mainstream media want to call her out for that, saying she's weak. That's the problem. Because if you have mental health, you're not weak. If anything, you're the strongest person out there because you realize you have a problem and you're doing something to fix it.
Completely agree. And for those of you that may catch this afterward listening on Spotify, Dan the Dick Werner did just join us.
Yes.
And you know, and I want to say, first of all, I do think that you're right. Black athletes and their eccentricities are presented more aggressively than their white counterparts. And I think John McEnroe is a great example. Most of the conversation around McEnroe and his behavior and his eccentrics was in a comedic form. Like, people made fun of it, but yes, there was the occasional person calling him out. It's unprofessional. We're professionals. The kids are watching. Those things happen, but it wasn't with near the rise that we see when somebody decides to be critical of the activities of an African-American athlete. And when we come up with a topic, typically it's me or whatever we're talking about. I like to do some research. And I was very fortunate in one of the pieces that I found that I thought was a very interesting read. It was a short piece, but it was actually written in the University of Missouri paper. This was a piece back in June of 2015. And I'm going to post the link in the chat for everybody to check out because I think it's a good read. And it's a smaller article. But one of the things that I found was interesting in this article that it mentioned is when you look at news reporting of athlete activities off the field. And I found that this was very, very interesting. With domestic violence cases, 77% of the time that an NFL player's domestic violence case was reported, it was an African-American athlete. 77%. What in the actual fuck?
Yep.
That and here's the thing, and I'm not surprised that there's going to be a bias because there has been a lot of behaviors within the media, and it's gotten worse. I think it's gotten a lot worse over the last 20 years, where content is the content that's shown is meant to divide and distract.
Yep.
They present stuff in a way that distracts you from the actual root of the issue more times than not.
Did you say? Sorry, Seven. Did you say when it was reported?
Yeah.
So you said domestic violence reported by professional athletes. 77% of them were African American athletes. Is that what the point?
When the press reported a domestic violence case of an NFL player or of an NFL player, yeah, it was NFL players. Okay. 77% of the time, it was a black athlete that it was reported on.
I hate to be devil's advocate here, but I think 77% of the NFL is black.
But also look at the way it's being disseminated to you. It could be from the biggest charge to the smallest charge, and a lot of times this stuff is being reported, and the media will shape it to where they're already guilty before they're proven innocent. My case in point, go back and look at Jerome Bettis. He got caught up in that same thing. And it's like
Tyreek Hill.
Gave him, and no one.
Tyreek Hill is a prime fucking example.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Don't give the benefit of the doubt until everything is over. You're guilty until you're proven innocent. And that's what's messed up. That's why we're in a messed up world that we're in right now. I
completely agree with you that the way it's portrayed, Will, it does have something to do with it. But numbers wise, 77%, I don't think that's that. I don't think that's that egregious because I think that about 70% of the NFL is black. So like you would think, I mean, is it a little high? Yeah, but like I don't think it's egregiously high to be reported because obviously if there's mostly black guys in the NFL, then mostly black guys would do, you know what I'm saying? Because there's more of them to do that's all I'm saying on that.
No, and you make a valid point.
Understood.
You make a valid point because there is obviously a very heavy African-American population in football. But so let me ask you this, Dan. So with white people, and I'm citing the same article here, the white person number was 17%. Do you think that the NFL race-wise is that proportionate with 77% black and 17% white.
It's pretty close.
Do you honestly feel like that's how it maxes up?
I'd say it's probably 65-35. I mean, I could get the number for you. I've looked at it. It's probably I think it's like 65-35. And then you have there's like a 5%. So like I'd say like 65 black, 30 white, and then 5% other nationalities is what I would probably say.
It's just a fact. It's just a fact to me. And it's not even a number because, like Seven said, we're more represented in the NFL and even more represented in the NBA.
Right, which is true.
But it's just the way it's done.
Yeah,
you know,
I understand that.
Yeah, it's just the way it's done that bothers me. And again, going back to tennis for a second, I realize what tennis is. It's a it's predominantly a white sport. I understand that. I get that. But everyone, despite the color of skin, should be treated equal and should be treated the same. And the Williams sisters, especially Serena, has not been treated that way.
Well, and you know, another predominantly white sport, golf, at least for what we see with the PGA, it's mostly white people. I'm not saying that actual playership is mostly white. But when we look at professional golf, it is
getting better
white.
though. I go say in front, it is getting better.
It is. I think it's good to see. But when you look at, I remember very distinctly when Tiger Woods broke onto professional golf. Oh, yeah. I was definitely a kid, but I remember it because there were a few things that were distinct. First of all, my grandfather would legitimately turn the TV off when they were focusing on Tiger during a tournament.
Yeah.
My grandfather was unfortunately, he got better as he got older, but he was a racist asshole. Like right. That's the core truth of it, unfortunately. It took him 3 years to go back to watching golf. And when he did watch golf, Tiger celebrated making an amazing shot, which it's Tiger fucking Woods. That was a common occurrence in golf, especially back in his prime, right? It was always too much, no matter what he did. It could have just been, you know, the club flip back into his hand that he's so famous for, and a fist pump.
The twirl.
And the twirl and the fist pump. It's pretty much his iconic celebration. And my grandfather would bitch, piss, and moan about it for 20 minutes.
That's what I mean, golfers did that before. It's just Tiger was in so many huge tournaments and made so many huge shots that it just looks like Tiger celebrates all the time because he fucking does, because he wins all the time and hits huge shots all the time. Yeah.
If you go back and if you go back and look at it, he wasn't even the first golfer to start that.
Absolutely not.
When Chichi Rodriguez first started that,
he was just the first
most popular with it.
The most popular black golfer. And because he was so good, when golf was on, Tiger was prominently featured because he kicked ass.
He still is, and he's not even dominant.
Exactly. Like he's just so goddamn good at the sport. Yep. And there are so many people, and I've seen this, unfortunately, that a reactive bias sits. And here's the thing. The other thing that we have to be honest about is we have this discussion. It's not just white people that do it. And it's not just white people about black people that do it. This is something that happens between cultures all over the fucking world. So that's one of the things that we need to be honest about. Go ahead.
Sometimes, fellas, we as African Americans can be our worst enemy. And you see that every day. And it's a shame, but it's the truth. Because a lot of times we put our one or two things happen. We put our support behind somebody and they don't give us the love back, i.e. OJ Simpson from back in the day. We put all our love and attention in that man, and he never came back. He never came back and returned that love.
How much do you think of that was? Sorry, how much do you think of that OJ stuff was him just being like, he literally forgot where he came from.
Yeah,
like he got rich.
Absolutely. That's pretty
He got rich. He started hanging out at a lot of country clubs with a lot of old rich white people. And then he literally was like, that was whose side he was on.
Yep.
Which is really fucked. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, obviously let's not OJ Simpson, great guy. But no, well, good cat. No,
hold on. But I mean, honestly though.
Yeah.
Really quick, couple of things. I'll let you go again. there are a couple of things really quick on the OJ thing. If you think about it, like if you go watch the videos that he puts on Twitter or this, like I think I've heard that he's had posted some stuff on TikTok and YouTube, like the way that he carries himself as that over 50, overconfident white guy.
Yeah.
Like that's the aura that you get when you watch him talk. Like the videos last year where he was talking about, or a couple of years ago where he was talking about his fantasy football picks. That is an overconfident, over 50 white guy.
When more than likely, when with a really good tan. When more than likely, nobody's ever told him, and this is the unfortunate truth, that he never would have been accepted into those country club groups if he wasn't O.J. Simpson, the football player, in the first place.
Exactly.
Right.
And then the other thing that I was going to bring up is when we look at this bias that exists, you know, it's not just something that happens in the U.S. with the different races. When I was doing my research, I came across an article that was talking actually on a British news site, talking about athletes of different races getting, you know, having racial issues.
Yep. Must have said
in Europe, despite the extreme diversity that exists in Europe. Like this is something that's still common. So I think one of the crucial points is having this discussion, which I think is important for us to have these discussions, is to remember that it's not something that exists within just one side, and it's not blaming. The conversation is about how we can do better, about remembering that people of other races are actually fucking people too.
Yep.
I mean,
on the NFL numbers, guys, what did we say? 65, 30, and 5. It's actually 68, 28, and 3. So we were really close.
So we were really close.
Okay.
So,
yeah, really close. Yeah.
But I mean, that shows that there is a margin of numbers between the reported domestic violence cases of African American athletes versus white athletes.
Oh yeah,
about 9% either way. About 9 to 11% either way. So it actually gets less on the white person side and more on the black person side.
And
again, unless you one of these black dudes, and I even throw YouTube in it because YouTube is even worse. Unless you one of these dudes, hey guys, I love you all, guys. Come back and see me at the game tomorrow night, guys. Yeah. Unless you one of those type of guys, you can't be. I'm not gonna say a true brother, but you can't be a Charles Barkley 24/7 and expect to win it. Charles Barkley can do that because he's Charles Barkley. William Morgan can't do that and expect to get anywhere with it. So, you know, again, you have to be a certain way to be accepted. And I think that's wrong.
Barkley walked that line, though, too.
He does.
Barkley walked that line early in his career, though. You know, he had to. He had to walk some line, which is ridiculous. He had to walk some line with all the white people. So to the point where he could be himself. Right. And he's one of the rare ones who gets to do that for some weird reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just because
but look how long it took him to get there.
30 years.
Right.
Yep.
Well,
31 years.
There is this, you know, and one of the things.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Oh my goodness.
When you look at when you look at everything here, like it's just one of those things where it's like this exists, and we always try to find faults in other people to make ourselves feel better. You know, the Tyreek Hill story was such a prime fucking example of everything that has gone on. And what fuels the fire on this is the fact that it was literally that fucking news station that created the big deal to where people thought that Tyreek Hill was abusing his child.
And I'm glad you went that direction, because there's another part of that story I did want to get into. And yes, I love Jenny Taft. I think she's great over at Fox Sports. She just got done her Undisputed Gig, about to do something else. But she said that she wanted Tyreek Hill held to the highest standard because he was an athlete. He was a black athlete and he should be held to the highest standard. Okay, so to get into the athlete part of it, if a doctor, a lawyer, somebody like that does the same thing, are you holding them to the highest standard?
They don't lose their jobs over
Exactly.
it usually. I mean, in most cases, that's dude. I've said that a lot on here before. Like, I don't know how we're double standarding these guys really badly. And like, I get that they're in like the public eye. Like, I get that kids look up to them, but like, kids should look up to doctors and lawyers as well who do similar things. Like, those guys don't lose their jobs if they get a domestic violence like charge, right? Like, I mean, they really don't. Like, that's not like a dude's career could be ruined from one of these things that was literally a domestic dispute or whatever it happens to be. Like, they don't play because of the public blowback, right?
Right.
And it's like, that's such a weird double standard that we hold these guys to. Like, it's such a strange thing that like only they get the real career ending circumstance of one of these situations. And I'm not saying obviously that it's okay to do it, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't be punished for it, but at the same time, it's like, how are you their whole career over like something that could have been a huge mistake?
Well, look, here's the, and of course, if we're going to have this discussion, the way that black athletes are treated for being human, of course, Colin Kaepernick is going to come up because obviously, and here's the thing, the thing that frustrates me about the Colin Kaepernick situation is this. Obviously, he won the lawsuit, and there was some evidence that he was blackballed by the owners. And I'm not going to dispute that. There's too much reasoning there to show that was influence.
That was 100% the truth.
But what also frustrates me is if you look at how he was performing before that happened, the dude was already struggling performance-wise. But
I will say one thing about this. If you go back, he did lose his head coach and his offensive coordinator that gave him that success. Once he got over a new coach and a new offensive system, then he started this up. I can see in front. He did. And
I'm not defending what the owners did because they kind of use that as their surface excuse.
Yeah.
When in reality, because of the resume that Kaepernick had, somebody should have picked him up. He should have had at least one more year to make a shot at being a quarterback, even if it was a backup. But there was some discussion, and I know there's been different rumors about whether or not that opportunity actually presented itself. And he was offered the opportunity to try for a backup position on some team, and he declined it because he wanted to be a starter at that point. So I'm not going to say whether that's here or there, but it looks like he didn't even get a shot. And
yeah, go ahead. You got Mike Glennon and his neck walking around the NFL right now, and you're telling me that Colin Kaepernick wouldn't have had a backup job in the NFL. Colin Kaepernick,
that's fair,
would still be in the NFL. He 100% at least would have gotten a job after that whole thing happened. And his situation's such a weird thing, though, too, because he used the platform that we're talking about that gets these guys taken out of the rest of their careers and suspended and stuff, like that public platform of the NFL and professional sports. He used that to actually broadcast a message onto. Therefore, he's actually there. That's when they start holding him to the highest standard, and their is when they use that platform to. So it's a double-edged sword for these guys because so I can't even use. So the thing that could get me kicked out of the NFL if I beat up my wife is the same thing that I can't use to do good things with. Is that what you guys are saying?
Right.
That's what he was trying to do, and that's what he got. That's what he got for it. And so it's such a weird.
The story with Kaepernick is even more interesting because of how much it was tried to suppress it. Like, him kneeling for the national anthem and how he got to that. Like there wasn't a lot of the media didn't focus on how he got to kneeling,
or the fact that it was just the fact that he knelt.
Just the fact that he knelt. They weren't talking about the fact that when he first started his protest, he was just sitting on the bench during the national anthem.
Yep.
And then as he talked with friends that were in the military and in prior service members that had been in combat, they talked to him about the fact that when they would go see somebody that they served with that had died in action, when they went to see their grave, they would kneel at their grave in remembrance. And that's where he got it from. He was kneeling for the people that had died because of the issue that he was bringing to light, that he was trying to open it up. But that wasn't talked about. And so you have all these Yankee Doodle nutsacks that are tooting their fucking rebel flag all over everywhere, acting like he hates the military, when that's not even close to the fucking case.
Far from the truth. Even Nick Wright, as much as I can't stand Nick Wright, I hate Michael Jordan and everything he stands for. Even Nick Wright voiced that same thing, that where that he got the idea from and why he was doing it.
Yeah,
And yes, he was
nothing to do,
struggling. And yes, he was struggling. But the reason why they kicked him out eventually, because what did he do? He called out the good old boy network. And when you call out the good old boy network, that's it. You're done.
And as much as Kaepernick was not skill-wise one of my favorite quarterbacks, I have respect for him because of this. You know, as a society, we try to, on the front side of things, act like we hold the athletes to a higher standard because they have a platform and they should be using it. We keep saying athletes should be using this platform for good and creating change, and they're making all this money. Why can't they change the world? But when somebody actually takes up a real fucking issue, all hell breaks loose. When an athlete shares their opinion that's different from how the mainstream media wants people to believe, all hell breaks loose, and they're painted as a villain when in fact they have cause. You know, I thought it was interesting. Aaron Rodgers. You know, that if you haven't gotten a chance, go back and watch the most recent interview with Aaron Rodgers on Rogan.
Oh, on
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And you know, he talked about one of the most interesting things, you know. And you know, they spent some time talking about the whole comment about him being immunized. And how, you know, and obviously it was throughout that made pretty clear that he knew exactly what he was doing. So that part is accurate. He knew he was fucking around and he was distracting the media with the way that he put it. But one of the things that I also thought was interesting was the protocol that he took to try and protect himself. He actually worked with doctors on because he was allergic to something that was in the vaccines that were available at that point. That was the whole reason he didn't get vaccinated. He was going to.
Right.
And as he was working with the NFL at the start of the season to try and show that and show what he was doing to protect himself, the NFL refused to listen.
Right.
And he was appealing and the NFL refused to listen. But all of that stuff was kept quiet. The NFL knew the entire time. Nothing got known about Rodgers' actual vax status until he got COVID.
And see, that's
until he got COVID. But how many athletes, especially, you know, because there was a lot of athletes that were black that weren't getting the vaccination at first because they weren't sure. Black people are naturally more distrusting of the system for clear fucking reasons, might I add. Like, who can fucking blame them?
Yeah.
Hey, I was leery of it. I was leery of it for a long time.
Oh, yeah. I completely to be expected with the experience that people of color have had in this country. Like, I just, on principle, I fucking understand. But all of these guys were vilified, and there was a witch hunt in the media for these players. But Aaron Rodgers, they didn't even ask follow-up questions when he didn't use the buzzwords that they were looking for. And they tried to get him to throw teammates under the bus that were open about the fact that they hadn't gotten vaccinated. Like there's so many things.
Every interview
stories. There's so many different stories that we get presented. And these individuals are vilified, or their image is manipulated for us for what the media wants to see, or what the media wants us to see. And this has continually, especially in the last 50 years, affected athletes that are people of color.
Mm-hmm.
It's shut up and dribble. It's shut up and dribble until you have something to actually talk about, and then it's
that's white friendly.
Shut up and dribble again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just shut up and dribble again. Like,
unless what you want to say is white friendly, like you talked about. You know, YouTube, the people of color that have a very white friendly voice.
Oh, they get pushed
the ones
up.
They get pushed up. There was a movie.
Up the algorithm.
I can't remember what it's called for the fucking life of me, but there was a movie that was about black guys that were working in a call center. And when they learned to whiten up their voice, basically, they started getting more sales and finding more success.
Yeah. And
so their customer service voice was a more white voice. And that movie was fucking amazing. If I remember the title, I'll post it. But it was it was truly a great movie. And it's true.
Straight up true. Straight up true. And it's a shame. It's a shame, guys, that we're like that. And it's like, you know, you go, hey guys, it's William here with Geek Gauntlet. How's everyone doing? Oh, if I was like that, I'd get shot right up the algorithm. Right up the algorithm on YouTube.
Hey guys, it's Corey.
Hey guys, it's Corey. How are you?
Here to tell you.
Hey Janae, hope you had a great week.
Today
it's just the fact that we as people should not be put in a box to be a particular to be a particular way in order to gain acceptance. And Jason Whitlock is a primary example of that. He couldn't keep a job until he got over to FS1 and started acting like that. If he went back to his ways over his beginning days over at ESPN, he wouldn't be at FS1 right now. But because he made that change for survival, I guess, he's been a consistent member over at Fox and Fox News. So, you know, it's a shame, man. We should be able, just like any other person, to be ourselves, whether you agree with us or not. As long as we're not doing anything to break the rules, as long as we're not doing anything to break the law, still call them out for mistakes that are made. Athletes make a mistake all the time. I'm not saying don't call them out on it, but don't put them in a box either saying they're trash and they suck. Come on, man.
And the fucked up part about Whitlock is like he made that change, right? And is it okay? So I have a question for you, actually. Does Whitlock make that change to having the more white guy voice, right? And does it change the way that the people at Fox see him? And here's the thing. They want him to be black on TV and people just see a black guy, correct? But they want them to hear a white guy, which is the weirdest part ever, because now if you're Fox, you're just using him as a black guy because he's black but you actually want him to relay like he's on radio like a white guy.
Right. He's a black man.
But just because he's there as a black guy, then it actually helps you. But you could want him to sound black.
He's a black guy backing up white points. He's a black guy wiping out there. He's a black man backing up the white agenda. And
there is
messed up.
There is a, you know, so there's this, you know, when we talk about how people of color are approached to the media. You know, one of my favorite annoying examples of somebody that's in the media that I really wish would just shut the fuck up.
What you about to say?
Fox uses this one chick, and I can't remember her name. It's a black chick, Candace. What is her? Owens. Candace Owens.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yes.
And here's the thing. I want you to think about this. And I'm going to say this, and you guys are going to be like, it's fucked up, but it's true. Okay. So Candace Owens has a fucking white voice. If you think, okay, so the shit that Candace Owens says, if we take a voice generator and make it sound exactly like Queen Latifah saying it, so in the more black woman type voice, if you will, for this example, if like Queen Latifah saying the shit that Candace Owens says, Fox wouldn't air it.
Sure about wouldn't. You
wouldn't have somebody that has that sass that is typically associated with black women, or somebody that uses more ebonics when they speak. Fox isn't putting that person on.
Nope.
Candace even if they say the same shit, because it's not the vision that they want, because they want people to think that this is how you're supposed to talk.
Right. And what is that preconceived notion over how they think we should be instead of being what we are, and that's just completely jacked up.
Well, it's just not naturally taken seriously, like off the cuff, not naturally taken seriously if it's said in a black tone, because of how long the white voice has been the voice of reason,
or the quote unquote broadcast standard.
Yes.
Look at Nate Burleson. Now, here's the thing: if you watch Nate Burleson, regardless of whether he's talking about the NFL or his time, I think he's on the CBS morning show now, if I remember correctly.
Yes, CBS morning.
Nate had to work all the way through up and continuing to do that sports stuff, despite the fact that where he wanted to be is kind of what he's doing now on CBS and actually working in the real news cycle, not just in sports. But if you look at interviews with Nate Burleson back when he was a player, he still had that more African American edge the way he talked.
Mhm.
But as he progressed in Good Morning Football, it's gotten progressively softer and softer and softer, and more articulation in certain parts. And his voice is whitened up, and now he gets to be on CBS.
Yep.
Well, outside of the dude from like actual CBS, like the older guy,
Al Roker.
Well, there's Roker, and then there's the one other guy in CBS. Outside of that, who's the most? I mean, Michael Strahan's the most famous guy in news, morning news, right? Outside of that,
Yeah.
Good morning,
Michael
America.
Strahan, former
Good morning,
athlete.
America. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's
And he had to super whiten up his voice. Well, but I think Strahan's voice was naturally softer though, because I remember even him in interviews when he was player, his voice is naturally softer.
Well, the first black billionaire in the United States was who? You guys should know this.
LeBron.
MJ.
Oh, that's right.
Mike Jordan was the first black billionaire.
LeBron was the first active player.
Sorry. I'll correct that. Oprah was the first black billionaire.
Yes.
Michael was the first male
Black
billionaire.
male. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And can I mention an outlier real quick? Outliner of all this, and sometimes I agree with him, sometimes I don't. But in the outlier in all this is Shannon Sharp. He's the outliner of all this because he's allowed to say his opinion the way he wants to say it and not have to change anything. We all know Shannon from the country. Come on now.
Right. And I think and unfortunately, and I hate to say this, and no disrespect to Shannon Sharp and what he does. I have so much respect for Shannon Sharp. I watch Undisputed every morning, full disclosure. But I don't think Shannon Sharp gets the freedom to be as much of himself as he is on air, if not for the fact that Skip Bayless has the reins of that control.
Dude, exactly.
I think that's why he got his own podcast too, so he can be a little bit more of that on his podcast than he is on Undisputed.
Right, and it's honestly because like I've listened to his podcast. I try to when I get time. It's one of those ones that I don't prioritize though, but he has great conversation, and it's a little bit more urban, if you will. I think that's
a little bit more him.
Term.
Yeah,
a little bit more. Right, yeah, and it's not bad.
If you don't, if you don't think that Undisputed though is like those Fox heads, dude, those CEOs and stuff. If you don't think that they're literally looking at Undisputed and going, that's almost like it's almost like a it's opposites. It's opposites. Yes, well, it's opposites.
Yeah,
it's like you know what I'm saying? Like it's like the free. The black speaking guy, right, versus who would assume to be Skip Bayless, who isn't really that much, but he would assume to be as like the very right wing voice of that show.
It's because he looks the part.
Yes,
in practice he's not, but he does look that part.
Yeah,
right. And it's like I think that's the dynamic of that show. Is like almost, but it's not the black speaking side of it. Is not Shannon. Shannon's like the more kind of eccentric side, and eccentric not in a bad way, but like he's the more eccentric side. He's the more free side, and then you have, the more restricted kind of like right wing side. Yeah, and I think that's like the dynamic of that whole show, right? And like that's why Shannon fits so well into it. Is like that's part that they know what they're doing.
Like and it's like Skip doesn't yell as much as Shannon does. He'll pound the desk and his tone will get more aggressive or stern, if you will. But Skip doesn't yell a whole lot. But Shannon gets the ability to let loose and be more animated with how he presents his topics, especially if it's something that he can get it. Come on now, Skip. Skip. Oh, don't do me like that now, Skip. Come on
Skip.
Now.
Don't do me like that, Skip. Don't do Brian like that, Skip.
And I love it.
Come on,
I love
Skip.
it.
Skip, Skip Bailey, damn good and well Dak Prescott is not the 7th ranked quarterback in the NFL. Damn well he is, Skip.
And at points,
Skip. Come on, Skip.
At points he is literally screaming across the table. Like I make fun of him all the time because I'm always like, oh, Shannon's good and coked out this morning.
Yeah. He doing something other than that Diet Mountain Dew Skip be doing.
Oh, he's good and coked up. I like it. Good. Good, Shannon. He's on our
no
side.
Judgments for it either. It's good TV.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's on my side. You know what I'm saying? Like he's on my side. Like not black guy's side. He's on everybody. Everybody's this mindset side. So that's like,
but the people of color don't get those freedoms very often. Just like McEnroe's behavior was even more over the top than Serena Williams. But we just joke about McEnroe and the way that he treated umpires,
Call it passion.
and all of the breaking rackets and shit that he did. Oh, he's just a passionate athlete.
Passionate.
Why
So
is
passionate
Serena
about
not
the
allowed to
sport.
be a passionate athlete? She is the greatest.
Seven, how many commercials is John McEnroe on now? Where they make fun of what he used to do?
Yeah.
How many is he on? Where it's literally him yelling at somebody about some ad. It's like an advertisement about him yelling at a referee.
John McEnroe. Yeah, at least one commercial per cycle as they rotate every few months. One of them is John McEnroe yelling at somebody.
And there's been Serena ones, but you can tell that they're not doing as well as her very serious Nike, like train as an athlete. Like those kind of commercials are obviously doing better for her than any of the ones where she jokes about yelling at people, because people actually get offended by that stuff because she's a black athlete. For real.
And
she's the GOAT, by the way. That's what I was going to say earlier.
Sense to me.
Yes, she is.
Like, like Naomi Osaka. I want to make sure I'm saying her name right. Okay. When I saw that she was getting flack for being like, hey, I need a mental health break. That is the dumbest possible fucking thing you can do to somebody that says those fucking words.
That's why people.
I don't care what race. I don't care who they are. People are allowed, regardless of race, to have mental health issues
or profession.
Or profession,
Yes.
right? And if you think about even within a lot of like, and because she's, if I remember correctly, she's African American and Japanese, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
Part
Okay.
black, part Japanese.
And about how
Malaysian.
difficult it is to be open in the African American community about mental health issues. The Asian community, Japanese, you can't talk about mental health issues, Japanese. Like there has to be 100% the complete facade of perfection. And she broke down all of that to just be honest and say, hey, I'm not okay right now. And she got fucking destroyed.
And to get to that point where you're able to do that in a bunch of in a room full of strangers, that takes real strength. And instead of her being celebrated for it, she gets cut down for it.
But if Maria Sharapova,
it's Maria Sharapova. Yep.
But if she said, I'm taking a break because of my mental health issues, everybody be like, oh, so brave.
There would have been a lot of coddling.
That's so brave.
A lot of coddling.
That's so great.
Like, go fuck yourself. Like, seriously. And that's what pisses me off. The standard is so fucking different, and it's not right.
No different with Chris Everett. No different with Chris Everett Lloyd when she was talking about Serena, talking about this is gonna ruin her legacy. Chris, shut up. While you were a great tennis player, you were not on the level of where Serena Williams, Steffi Graf, you not nowhere near that level. You never were.
Serena Williams is not only the greatest tennis player, the greatest female tennis player of all time. She is the greatest female athlete of all time. I would love anybody to come at me with anything. What she's done in her sport is greater than any female athlete has done in their sport.
Yep.
Hands down. I don't think that's even where's the argument even at? Like, who do you come out with?
Candace
Parker? You could come at me with Candace Parker and I'll destroy you.
That's the thing. I mean,
there's
Candace
nobody.
Parker has done a lot.
That amount of dominance.
I mean, what do you Sue WNBA player
Sue Bird? Yeah. Not even Candace. No. I think Candace Parker's better than Sue Bird. I think Candace
Diana
Parker.
I think so too. I think so too.
I mean, no. I still I cannot think of a female athlete that I would take over Serena Williams in anything.
If you're going resume against their competition and against what they did in their sport, there isn't a greater female athlete that's ever lived.
Nope.
No,
she's the
the closest you could get to Serena for what she did with Steffi Graf. That's the closest you could get to.
That's
and
fair.
she blows Steffi Graf out the water.
Yeah. Numbers wise, it's not even close. I don't. Resume wise, it's not close. I mean, that's clear. I think she's clearly the greatest tennis player of all time. And I don't know outside of that where you'd even get another female athlete that's ever done the things that she's done against her sport.
There's no way.
And both sides, singles and doubles.
Yeah, doubles. She had a little bit of advantage there.
And if you think about how how much of a freak athlete you have to be a tennis player, because you yes, you have a racket to hit your ball, but it's not just about hitting a ball. There's positioning, pacing, anticipating when they get to it, where they're going to hit it so that you can be in the right spot, because those balls are flying, super fucking fast. Like, it's hard to see.
And if you mess up, there's nobody you can blame but you.
Nope.
It's like a ping pong table hit a green mushroom in Mario.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and that's the thing is, and I think that there's so many people that judge the athleticism of tennis because of ping pong. We think about how easy just to no, that's not even that's not even it, bro.
Guys, any Wii sport is really not close to the actual thing. And from a guy from a guy who's done a whole tutorial right here on After Dark about Wii bowling and shown everybody how to bowl 300 games on Wii bowling.
I remember.
Go back, reference episode 14 minute. I'm just kidding.
I used to play tennis against my brother, and my brother was really, really good. And it's like
actual tennis.
Yeah, actual tennis. And I was always a football, basketball, track guy.
Different set of skills.
A whole different set of skills. Whole different set. Hand-eye coordination is different. Your thought process has to be different when you hit that tennis ball. That's one of the hardest things in the world to do.
I call them hand-eye skills, Will, and it's literally like what we were talking about on Seven's show the Sunday meeting or winter meetings on Sundays at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time.
Yes,
that's my first promo I've ever done. We were talking about it on there about how baseball is like a hand. I call them hand-eye skills, and it's literally there's more of a hand-eye coordination component to baseball than there is to basketball or even football, just because there's the basketball and football are more explosive sports, and tennis is a more hand-eye type sport where it's flick of the wrist, it's turning the wrist, things like that are more prominent in that sport. So it's a whole different kind of athleticism compared to explosive athletes, endurance athlete. Well, they're kind of endurance athletes because tennis takes, obviously, you got to be a goddamn near cross country runner to do that shit, running back and forth the whole time.
Yeah,
but,
you have to.
But hand-eye wise, with them spinning it, they do like the back, where they back spin it and it stops at the net and shit like that. It's very hand-eye based. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Serena.
I mean, and they've got serves that are coming off of their racket at 100 miles an hour.
Serena looked like she was juicing there for a while. I was questioning. I was like, ooh, Serena juicing it? Because she was in shape. Let's just say that. Like, she was thicker than she ever was, like big, like her arms were big. And I was like, oh boy.
Muscle throughout
I was like,
career.
Yeah, a lot.
The thing
I was like, jeez.
But the thing about it, she caught hell for that because she didn't fit that mold. She didn't fit that mold of white, skinny, blonde hair, hit the tennis ball at 80 miles an hour.
She doesn't just keep straight hair. She has braids.
Right.
Like, I don't understand the criticism of people that wear braids. I don't fucking understand. Like, oh, it's unprofessional. Go fuck yourself. Like, seriously.
Exactly.
The lack of understanding for the importance in the African American culture of hairstyles and the difference for different people. Like, there's a huge connection with it in that community, and it's far different than it is for white people or Asian people. Like, it's super important.
Yes.
And it gets so minimized and criticized. And I don't fucking understand it. I think that it is cool as fuck that you have the patience to sit there and get all of those fucking braids put in your head. Because with ADHD, I don't even have the ability to sit there and let my own fucking hair grow. The chick that used to live upstairs from me, like one of the side hustles that she had is she would do people's hair. That's where I used to get my hair cut until she moved out. Because she's black and I wanted to get a proper fade. If you want a proper fade, go to a black guy or a Mexican guy. You don't go to a white guy for a fade.
There you go.
But like she would have people go up there and she would be like professionally putting in weaves, doing braids and stuff like that. And there are people that are going up there and they're up there for hours at a time getting their hair done. And it's just like, holy shit.
Nice.
That's dedication. That's a personal thing. It's like white people and tattoos. There are white people that just lay on that table for hours, taking that needle, getting that put into their skin because it's that crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Or Vikings and tattoos, Germans and tattoos, like tattoos in paler skin culture is so fucking common. Hawaiians and tattoos, hours, just to display that thing that's important to them. And that got criticized for the longest time, but that's been easier to accept than somebody, excuse me, somebody that's some fucking braids in their hair.
Yep.
Are you serious?
And I just want to get out that no one has to be put in a box. Appreciate the athlete that's out there. Appreciate Serena, because when you look at her, you might not think of her as a class act, but go back. She's winning on the court, off the court, successful business person, successful mother, married. As far as I know of, she's never been arrested. As far as I've known of, she's never, and she had to take more drug tests than the average athlete. She's never been found guilty of taking any type of drug or performance enhancers or anything like that.
Never heard anything about her getting tested positive for PEDs.
Yeah. So instead of criticizing, appreciate the career, appreciate what she gave you, because 9 times out of 10, we're not going to see another Serena in a long, if ever, it'll be a long time before she comes, if she ever comes.
I think it'll happen just because of natural progression and how people and how each generation people just like the athletic individuals just get more athletic. That's why we've seen sports evolve the way that we have. And so I think that I think that there will be another woman that will come along and will eventually take that mantle. But I'm with you. I think it's going to be a minute.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's, it wasn't, when we started seeing good African Americans in basketball, it didn't start with like one day there was 100 white guys and the next it was 50-50.
Right.
No, it took time. It worked in as things progress.
Right.
In the next generation, maybe there's a half dozen black female tennis players that are just absolutely killing it, and one of them that's just above and beyond, but not quite to what Serena did. Right. And then in the next generation, somebody gets even closer, and it'll happen to the point where they're all fighting over those records that Serena set 100 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to take a minute.
Yeah, it's going to take a minute to catch all that greatness.
I mean, it's a lot to catch. And that's what makes her achievements in tennis and the number of Grand Slams that she's won and, the number of Masters that she's won, everything that she has done. It's going to take a lot. And I don't think it's going to be one person that's going to break all of the records that she's set and achieve them. I think it's going to be individual athletes.
Multiple people.
That hit it. It's going to take a long time.
Yeah. Multiple folks. Where'd Dan go?
I don't know. I think he's having technical issues. For an update on the Monday Night Football score, it is 31-10. Fuck my sports bets. Like that's all I've got to say about that shit. It's just fuck my sports bets. Like why was I dumb enough to take the over, Will? Why was I fucking dumb enough to take the over? Tell me that. I never bet over under. Never. This time I was like, hey, this seems like a good bet. This will be a high scoring game. 53, that seems like a low number. Go fuck myself. Like but yeah, man, I had a feeling the Bills were going to come away with this game.
My dumb ass, I didn't start their defense tonight.
You should have. Welcome back, Dan. You're shitty.
Sorry about that. I need to get one of those NASCAR suits to let you urinate inside of them.
That's
what I need. Anybody know where I can get a full NASCAR suit?
We'll reach out to the Air and Space Museum, see if we can get you a little astronaut suit.
There you go. There you go. Just drink as much beer as I want. No, they'll get mad because I'll start shitting in that thing.
Damn.
I can't clean that out. It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that.
It's not supposed to be that big.
Look at that,
You don't
man. Hey, the Bills defense put up 27. Dang it.
Damn. You didn't start. Okay, so which defense did you start?
I went with the Chargers D.
Chargers play the Raiders?
Yeah.
That was a dumb choice, bro. Sorry. I would have definitely taken the Bills over the
I
Bills
just looked
defense
at
over the
I
Chargers
just
defense.
looked at the Rams offense, and I thought the Rams offense would come alive. You know, the first game. I thought, Stafford and Cup will be able to recreate that magic, but man, I guess not.
I mean, Cup. I know Cup's got a touchdown. Was it 92 yards last time I saw? He hit 100 yards and a touchdown. Stafford's, 28 for 38, but he's thrown 3 picks.
Jesus.
Wasn't it Stafford that led the league last year in interceptions?
Man, they're sitting at 3 interceptions. They're sitting at 3 interceptions and 6 sacks. 10 points allowed, bro.
So who they play, Will?
Who, the Rams?
Bills are playing the Rams.
The Bills are playing the Rams.
I don't know if that's a dumb. Yeah. I mean,
you're good for 2
it's
picks.
not a dumb choice.
If you're playing,
Rams offense is good.
That was
the
my
Rams offense is good, but that
was my thinking. That was my thinking because I thought the Rams were gonna put some points on the board, but oh well.
Yeah, but you're always good for 2 picks from Matt Stafford.
That's true.
Really?
That's true.
He led the league last year in interceptions, bro.
No, he did not.
Yes, he fucking did.
Somebody prove that to me. Somebody prove that to me. I don't think that's.
Hold on. He may not have led, but he was up there near the top. Hold on, Stat Muse.
That's the one thing I didn't do because I got Jalen.
He had 41 touchdowns, 17 picks last year, tied for okay, so it was pretty close. He was tied for 30th. So yeah, he had pretty close.
Drunk. That's one thing I didn't do.
Okay.
I have Jalen Ramsey on this team and I didn't start him. So yeah, I didn't.
All right, you know what?
What are you, drunk?
Okay, so he's good for at least 1 pick a game. 17 over the course of a 17-game season.
Rams got
That's
Super
still
Bowl.
1 pick a game.
Rams got Super Bowl hangover.
It's ironic with your name, drunk.
Yeah, Jalen fell off a bit.
Pretty much.
It could just be getting started because remember, I think this could be one of those downsides because the Rams are one of those teams where their starters don't spend a lot of time on the field during the preseason.
Why don't you guys stop picking on corners? I want to just come out public and say that this show picks on corners a lot. Like on the Sports Report, we pick on corners a lot. We call Eli Apple burnt toast all the time.
Burnt toast.
Give him shit. And Richard Sherman. Those guys have like one of the hardest jobs in sports. Like imagine defending right now. Imagine defending Tyreek Hill one-on-one. Good luck to all of you. To every single person on the planet, like quite literally, good luck. Like that's, they know where they're going and you don't. And you're supposed to like stop them from going there. It's like, what now? Like that job's ridiculously hard. Very, very good corner.
Yes, Jalen Ramsey is a very good corner. He does a much better job than I would do. But when you compare him to his peers, he is not starting off.
If there was one sporting event I could watch, it would be you playing cornerback in the NFL for an entire game. Like you have to play it. Like they make you play all the plays. And you just getting toasted the whole time.
I would get burnt every time.
You're like,
it could be Geno Smith at quarterback for the opposing offense, and I am getting burnt 100 times out of 100.
3 or 4 times in that game, you're going to be trailing the play by like 25 yards, and the dude just next to you. You're just going to get blindsided, just fucking straight like
he'll be Dan Sorensen.
Yeah,
oh my
Dan
God,
Sorensen
it would be so much. Yeah, it would be so much.
I'll take the L on that one. Dan Sorensen would do better. Yeah,
that would be like a really good episode of what's that one show called? Where they Impractical Jokers. That'd be a really good episode if like us 3 just went on, like an Impractical Jokers type show, and like all 3 of us had to play corner in the NFL for like a whole game. it would be the funniest shit like of all time. Like because one of us would probably die. Like honestly. Like Will might just die. Will might get blindsided by somebody so hard he might just die.
Drunk. I'm pulling a Pete Rose and putting money on my opponent because I'm taking Devontae Adams in that. Like 100 times out of 100.
Hang on,
catching all 10 passes for a touchdown.
Drunk. What's the over under here? Is the over under 9.5? Like he does. The over under's got to be he catches 9.5 passes. Either he catches all 10 of them, or it's just 9. Like 7 wins.
Right.
7 wins if he breaks up one pass.
One pass.
One pass. That's he wins.
Now
in that situation, that's interesting.
I will say I didn't start them in my money league, but I did start them in 2 other leagues, and they're doing me good. 18 points in the other two leagues. I started the Bills defense. So
there you go.
I didn't know I think that.
And here's the thing. I am 100% sure that every NFL player is better at their job, even if they're second, third string or practice squad, than I ever would be. But the only position where I might get that one stop out of 10 is if I'm in the middle linebacker covering the run.
And you just got to go head on 22 ISO, and you got one of the worst running backs in the NFL. Let's say you're going head up against I don't even know who to say right here.
N'Keal Harry is a running back.
Like Colin Powell from the Chiefs practice squad.
Oh my gosh.
You and him meeting a hole.
Gosh.
He's 5'10".
Oh my god.
215, and you guys just meet in the hole.
Oh my god.
He's trucking the shit out of you, but you might trip him on the way down. When you roll over,
I'm grabbing his ankle as he pulls through me.
Take him down. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh my god.
1 out of 10 times. The other 10 times he's rolling you. You're getting rolled.
Absolutely.
Or he's just gonna juke you. It would just be hilarious to watch, like outside of the fact that like we would be worried for the other person to get injured. We're like, oh God.
Did you see that video of that high school in Ohio that does mom night in a preseason where moms get to tackle? Oh God, that was the funniest shit. Because you're watching these kids just get rocked by their mom.
You have to just stand there.
God.
They just stand there and they just take full shots.
And these moms are not holding back too.
Yeah, just taking out all that. So every time you didn't clean up your room, bam. Every time you didn't do what I said, bam.
Yeah, my room.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was great. Oh man. Okay. All right. Yep. Game is over. 31-10 Buffalo. NFL season is officially kicked off.
I was not expecting that, by the way.
I didn't expect it to be that one-sided.
I expected the Rams to put up a fight. I really did expect them to put up a fight.
What were Josh Allen's numbers?
Didn't have it tonight.
Hold on, I got it right in front of me. 26 for 31, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Woo! The 2 outside of the 2 picks there, that's weird. He only had 4 incomplete passes, and one of them was 5 incomplete passes, and one of them was 2 of them were picks. That's weird.
There was one point where there had been like 3 interceptions thrown in the game, but those were the only incompletions on either quarterback's stats.
Wow.
Yeah, at the start of the game, there was 3 turnovers in 9 plays at one point in the first half. So, and it's you're getting started again. I expect there to be more turnovers in week 1 than in week 17. Like honestly, there's going to be some rough starts here. So expect your team. Chiefs fans, Patrick Mahomes might throw a pick this week. It might happen. It's okay.
Yeah, all right.
I'm going to make an early call that Josh Allen wins the MVP.
Honestly, I like Josh Allen for MVP this year as well. If Mahomes doesn't have like a huge season and just steal away the attention, I like either Mahomes or Burrow to steal that award.
Dude, do you understand how much? Just so I say it on every show, Patrick Mahomes has to have, now he has that LeBron label where
absolutely,
where it's every year he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks, and they're not going to give it to him unless he separates himself completely. Right. It's got to be, they literally have to go like 15-2. They're going to have to go 15-2, and Mahomes is going to have to throw 50 plus touchdowns and 5,000 plus yards with like 8 interceptions. And they're going to have to be ridiculously good and they dominate if he wins an MVP. Other than that, they're going to try and give it to somebody else. They're going to try their hardest to give it to Josh Allen.
And that's the thing I like. And the thing of it is with the way that Josh Allen has progressed year over year as a quarterback, I think that he has earned the right to be in consideration for that conversation at the beginning of the year. If you look at how last season ended, He did every single thing that he was supposed to. He gave the Chiefs 13 seconds. 13 seconds.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes still Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is on a different level than Josh Allen. We're not comparing the two because that's not fair to Josh Allen. You can't.
Ooh, I don't know about that, actually.
No, well, no, and here's the thing. Because if you look at the difference in what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do, the resources he has, the environment he's in, everything, it is a different standard than what he has gotten in Buffalo because there has been more inconsistency in Buffalo. He has not had the talent level at certain positions that Mahomes has had. And he is also a different style of play than Patrick Mahomes. And I think that's crucial is when you judge the style of play, he is different. But
I think now you'll see Buffalo come kind of even that up a little bit. Isaiah McKenzie, good looking rookie, is supposed to make a splash this year. They got James Cook, running back they took in the backfield to back up Devin Singletary. I think he's going to have a good year. Gabe Davis is also going to be a great.
He looked really good.
He's going to look really good tonight.
And then obviously you still have Stephon Diggs.
They still got Stephon Diggs, obviously.
But guys, so, I think it's unfair to Josh Allen to put anybody in a different level talent wise than him. I mean, clearly, I would if you had to ask me who has the best, like the strongest arm in the NFL, I'm gonna say probably Josh Allen. Strongest arm in the NFL, probably Josh Allen, and that's actually like pure backed up. Like pure backed up.
You think more than Aaron Rodgers?
At this point,
I don't know about that. I don't know about that because no, I mean
Aaron might have better arm. Aaron might have better arm talent.
But
now, what you saying? But a stronger arm? Yeah, Josh Allen.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Maybe because Aaron's just got obviously that arm's ridiculous with the accuracy added in. I don't think Josh Allen is near as accurate as Aaron Rodgers with the strength. And I'm not saying that he has, but like not saying he has the best arm. I'm saying like strongest arm. I probably say he kind of is up there. Talent wise, the guy's 6'6", 240 pounds. Mm-hmm. He runs like that's the thing with me is like the MVP is gonna happen with Josh Allen eventually. At some point, if it's not this year, it's going to happen because he's going to rush for like 600 yards and have like 8 rushing touchdowns on top of like 4,300 yards and 40 touchdowns passing. Like it's going to be some ridiculous, like, you know what I'm saying? Like some ridiculous Steve Young type shit.
People think he is.
Oh my God. The dude is fast. Like he could be a running quarterback. Like he's legitimately that big.
But that's just not the scheme that they run.
It's not, and it shouldn't be because you don't want Josh Allen running into linebackers.
But if a play break down and he needs to do something with his legs, he can definitely do it. And let's not also forget Dawson Knox. Yeah, he might be due for some touchdown regression, but he's still a bad man at tight end. He's still a bad man.
He is, and on not putting and not trying to compare him to Patrick Mahomes. The reason why I don't is because when Josh Allen runs, it's purely because the play broke down and he was able to get out.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes runs a lot more often and a lot earlier, and the Chiefs have more designed QB runs in their playbook than the Bills do. And that's where I think the difference is going to come into with them as far as that. And then also, like I said, if you give Josh Allen the same level of talent that Patrick Mahomes has had at wide receiver, yes, he's had Stephon Diggs. So there is, it's closer, but Josh Allen has not had the same level of talent at tight end and wide receiver for as long as Patrick Mahomes.
And Josh Allen clearly came into a way worse situation.
Absolutely. And that's my point.
That's the biggest part.
And that's my point, because if you put Josh Allen into that scenario in Kansas City, like if you literally just Josh Allen already has an MVP and a Super Bowl ring.
I think so too. I think so too. And at least close to the same resume as Patrick Mahomes has.
And maybe he doesn't hit as high on the 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards in the MVP season.
Right.
But because Patrick Mahomes is Patrick fucking Mahomes. Like there's no denying that. But also, Josh Allen has a much better resume if he gets that better location to start.
Who's a better quarterback right now? Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes?
Mahomes.
You think it's clear? You think it's clear that it's Patrick Mahomes?
I don't think it's clear.
I don't think it's clear. It's like 1A and 1B.
Yeah,
It's like one A and one B.
I'll take that. He's in the first. He's in the tier with Patrick Mahomes.
Right. He's in the same tier. Yeah.
There is. Yeah, he's definitely up in there, up in that tier now. But that's why I say it's hard to compare him, because he has had to go about it a different way. He is in that same tier because of what he's gone through, whereas Patrick Mahomes is in that tier because of what he's been able to actually do.
And it's going to be interesting too, because now Brian Dable's with the Giants, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do without
and
his offensive coordinator.
And obviously, I mean, they dropped 31 tonight on the Rams
on a really good defense.
And I think that it helps the Bills that Von Miller is on their side instead of the Rams side now, because that combo of Von Miller and Aaron Donald was just fucking toxic. Like, it was just so goddamn, you weren't getting anything through it. Like that's just the way it is. And so now that they have that piece of Von Miller in their back pocket on their defense, I think that I genuinely believe that we see Buffalo and Kansas City in the AFC Championship again this year. And whoever wins that wins the Super Bowl. Because I don't think there is a explosive enough team on the NFC right now that's going to be able to compete for whoever makes it, whether it's
I don't know. Because with me, you can't count the Bengals out. Joe Burrow's got a better line than he did last year. Mixon's is an incredible running back. Chase, Higgins, Boyd, good wideouts.
The Bengals are going to make the
better.
Playoffs.
As long as if you don't attack burnt toast, they can still get there. I think they can still get, but
they're going to the playoffs. I'm not saying that, but I think they're going to lose a close game. They're going to get out coached.
They could
in the divisional round.
They could,
and then we're going to see, and that's why I think we're going to see.
Fuck you on the coach thing.
Because one could say,
Zach Taylor, Nebraska, baby. It's the only good thing about Nebraska right now.
Because one could say that Cincinnati lived a charmed existence in the playoffs before they got to the Super Bowl. That game against Tennessee.
It's, there's something to be said about the fact that Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times in one game in the playoffs.
And still won.
And I have a lot of respect for Joe Burrow. I think he's a newer Len Dawson with the swag that he carries and the way that he carries himself. So moxie in its purest form for sure. Moxie. I don't think that Cincinnati is going to make impactful enough decisions to give Joe Burrow that streamlined track. I think that Joe Burrow is going to be. I think that it's going to be another couple of years before Joe Burrow gets another shot. And one of the things that people have to remember, despite how good Joe Burrow is, the last 16 quarterbacks to lose their Super Bowl debut did not make it back to a Super Bowl.
How about that stat? That's big J journalism here from the Sports Report After Dark.
I still think that there's some teams there in the AFC that won't be pushovers.
No, it's the AFC is going to be super competitive, but the NFC, there is, while there are some talented teams in the NFC, I will not deny that. There is not a single team in the NFC that I think could beat the top 3 teams in the AFC.
So have we even apologies if this has been beaten like a dead horse, but have we even talked about the Lamar Jackson situation and what?
No, I think that's the next thing we should talk about.
Okay,
I think that's interesting.
Did you guys see that where he's like liking tweets about him in a Dolphins? It's got to be getting up on us. They just started the season.
It's got to be getting up. His deadline's about 39 minutes to sign that contract.
I was gonna say, and then if he signs it, like he hasn't been playing.
Yeah,
he hasn't been doing much. Like he's out there, like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get my contract, then I'll start. Like, ugh, like you guys might want to get that figured out.
The thing that kills me though, he got Baltimore over a barrel.
Oh yeah, he does.
Because of the fact now they don't want to pay him that money because of the style he plays. He's a running quarterback. The older you get, the more nick you get, the more games you miss. But they don't want to pay him that money for that reason. But they don't have a choice. There's nothing behind him that can do anything like him right now.
What's the alternative, Baltimore?
They ain't got a choice. They don't have.
What's your alternative?
And what's even funny, this is another scenario, just like what Kyler Murray did to the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray had the Arizona Cardinals by the balls, and that's why he got that contract.
Yep.
And Lamar Jackson is in the
And the
same
homework
fucking
clause.
scenario in Baltimore.
Oh, I love player leverage.
And the homework clause. You got the homework clause too for they took it away.
This is why we see some guys that we may not associate as being the most talented in the league that get paid because they have their organization by the balls, because the organization dumped everything into them being the guy. And when they're not quite the guy, but they have expounded the resources to try and enable that, they don't have the resources to move off of them because they're not the guy. They have to fucking go all in.
And Turner Gibson the same way in Washington. You saw Brian Washington, get shot. But Brian Robinson was supposed to take his job until that happened. So now they got Gibson and they got to run him. They don't have a choice. They don't have any faith in him, but they don't have a choice. They got to run him.
Yeah,
and it's player and it's why there has always been so many rules in sports leagues where athletes had to fight to be able to have that leverage. That's why you didn't have free agency in Major League Baseball until the 60s. But once free agency came to Major League Baseball in the 60s, the players had more leverage, and that's when salaries started to increase. That's why we saw things like Barry Bonds getting the largest single season contract for a player in 1992 in baseball, and it was over $4 million for a season. This is before the steroid use, but people want to try and say that the steroids is why he was a Hall of Famer. No, Barry Bonds was a fucking Hall of Famer beforehand.
Whoever said steroids got Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame shouldn't talk about baseball anymore.
They
really shouldn't. And it seems to be in the NFL. Anybody who you can look at and go, I would start that guy for an entire 17 games for 5 or 6 years. And think about that list. Then that cuts it down to what, 15 or 16 guys total.
Yeah.
If you're in that group, dude, you have leverage because of how quarterback centric the NFL has become now. If you're in that 15 or 16 guy group, you have leverage like a motherfucker. Dude, you can be like, yeah, oh, you can start. I can actually start.
Yeah, that's why Dak Prescott got $75 million for last year, because he had Jerry Jones by his old wrinkly ass balls.
Yep.
Ugh. Jerry Jones balls, gross.
I mean, they're probably all just skinny and airy now. There's probably not much there anymore.
You can actually see the vestibular tubes in those things. They're so paper mached, and
you can almost see through them. They're so white.
They're just crickets.
No comment.
And let's also talk about Brett Favre's dick. Will, with your analysis, since I sent you the picture and you've seen it, I'm just kidding.
But here's the thing:
start from 1 to 10, Will.
It's just like Aaron Judge has the Yankees by the balls.
Yeah.
Oh God. Talk about a dude betting on himself and fucking winning the jackpot.
Amazing.
And how many times have we seen that work out? We've seen it sometimes where it don't. But
honestly,
but a lot of times it does.
Well, and I think that there's times where it didn't, because teams strategically didn't play players appropriately because they knew it was a contract thing and they screwed them over. But but there's also situations where Le'Veon Bell kept betting on himself, saying he wanted more, but he wasn't producing shit. His production was getting worse every year.
Should have stayed in Pittsburgh. That's just me.
He should have stayed in Pittsburgh. So there are definitely examples of both sides of it. But Aaron Judge went from a $30 million offer to where any team that would think $30 million a year is enough for Aaron is a justifiable wage for Aaron. You're out of your goddamn mind. That man's going to get $45 million a year.
I was going to say, A-Rod just said that he thinks he's going to get 50 a year, and that's completely possible.
Absolutely.
I said 10 to 12 years and $500 million is what it's going to be. It's going to be $500 million.
It'll be up there as a motherfucker, but that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, and they might even split that thing like they did with Freeman, and obviously Bobby Bonilla's got that extended one, but Freeman split it for like 6 years now, 6 years later with the Dodgers, which is the weirdest shit ever, but it's also awesome. Like he gets paid like when he's like 43 to like 49, he gets paid like, another some hundreds of millions or something. But
I'm gonna say it one more time, and I've been saying it for a minute. Watch Herbert and Burrow be in that range. Watch 50, 51, 52 million. They're gonna be in that range. Particularly, they're gonna be in that range.
And here's the thing: you will not see Lamar Jackson sign for less than $231.5 million guaranteed.
Exactly.
It will not happen because, and I think this is one of the other reasons why all of the other owners are pissed at the Browns right now, because with the way that they did that contract, that completely fucked the quarterback market. Completely fucked the quarterback market. Because, and I think the biggest portion of it is fully guaranteed.
Right.
The fully guaranteeing the contract, I think, is the bigger sticking point. But you also have to look at the fact that it will have been over 2 years since Deshaun Watson played a professional down in a regular season game when he takes that snap in week 13 against his former team.
Is it week 13 or week 11?
Whereas the agents
it's week 13. It's 11 games.
Okay, so it'll be week 13. Okay.
Yeah.
The agents are gonna fucking play the shit out of that and go, Deshaun Watson got this after not playing for 2 years. I get what you're saying, like as far as that contract fucked him over.
Exactly.
And it's not just the fully guaranteed, because Patrick Mahomes got the fully guaranteed, and they knew that was fully, that's actually something that.
But that was a.
He's worth that money. He's worth that money.
Plus, it's a friendlier deal.
Friendly. Yeah.
Plus, it's a friendlier deal. Yeah.
And he's worth that money. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody even knows if Deshaun Watson's worth that money. For one, let alone giving it to him fully guaranteed, it fucks everybody else, because now Lamar Jackson's agent can just look at him and go, Deshaun Watson.
But
231.
here's the other thing. It's interesting.
Russell Wilson tried to bring it back though. And he tried to bring it back to give Denver cap space, but that's not going to affect the Jackson deal, the Herbert deal, and the Burrow deal. It's not going to affect any of that.
Look at this though. One of the things that I thought was interesting was with the and I just lost my train of thought. Lamar Jackson does not have an agent. It's him.
That's right.
He represents himself, and it's him and his mom.
That's right.
His mom is his business advisor, but he represents himself. And I think that's and there's been a lot of criticizing, especially even for professional athletes, saying that the reason why that if he had an agent, this would already have been done.
I think it's dumb to get a parent or a relative or a friend to be your agent, because they're not going to be real with you. They're going to coddle your ego. They're not going to be real with you. Because
ask Dane Cook, the comedian, what it's like to have a family member as your business manager.
Because these teams are coming at you with raw numbers. Mm-hmm. This is what you did here. This is what you did here. This is what you did there. This is what you didn't do.
Did Dane Cook's brothers steal like a lot of his money from him?
$6 million.
You can't have a family member represent you. You can't.
No.
You can't.
You would like to think that you could, but at that point, just because of the dynamics of that relationship with an agent and a player, you can't. Like there's
absolutely cannot.
And plus, obviously, you have the agents who have rapport with like a lot of the people who work in the upper offices of a lot of these organizations. So like that report is important. That report's important as much as you don't want to think it is. And politically, it's just all this politics bullshit. But like that's what those guys get paid to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do.
Look at Scott Boras. The reason why Scott Boras is a successful agent, he is a fucking stud. And players that are trying to negotiate high-paying contracts hire Scott Boras. And the reason why they hire Scott Boras has a great relationship with those teams.
He has a reputation.
And he has a reputation. So when he walks into that office and they know, this is Scott's client, you already know what to expect. And so things fall into place a lot easier, and the deal gets done in half the fucking time.
They just know they can't lowball him or anything. They're just like, we're going to have to give him whatever he wants pretty much, because he's not going to stop until we do.
Fair market value.
And that's the thing when you don't have that person that's job is to go to bat for you, you spend these meetings with the front office hearing about all the reasons why they don't think you deserve that pay.
When Scott Boras is going, this is what you're going to give us because this is what my guys have gotten in the past, and you know that. So I don't know why you guys we're even talking about it right now. And that's basically what gets him in the door. And who's the guy in the NFL that who was T.O.'s agent? God, God, I can't remember his name. He was T.O.'s agent. He's been a bunch of famous guy. Got a bunch of huge deals. He looks like Mark Cuban, kind of. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know who you're talking. I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy, same thing. They just got reputation. They got rapport with all these dudes. Like they know when they walk in the door, we're getting what we want, or I'll just walk. This guy will walk, and then we'll go get it from somebody else because I'm going to get it from somebody. So why don't you just let me do it here? It'll be way easier.
Facts.
Be way easier.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I always think about people having, bitching about having to pay people to do things. Look, as an insurance agent, I have spent so much time learning not just insurance law, but insurance law that varies across all 50 states. I'm always taking extra trainings, reading up on guidelines, looking up different information on different houses.
It's constantly changing too.
Because it's something that, the market constantly evolves and constantly changes. So the money that I make as an agent isn't just because I said, oh, hey, you live at this address, this is how much your insurance is. It's because everything between that made sure that you got what was actually going to cover you if something fucking happens. And I know that I haven't lied to you. I haven't given you any incorrect information. And that I'm not putting myself at risk of standing before the state government because I did something illegal with insurance, which can happen if I don't do everything exactly the way I'm supposed to. I'm getting paid for my experience when I do that job. When an agent goes in and gets a player paid, yes, they get a percentage of that check. But guess what? If they didn't do their job, the check that player's getting would be even smaller.
Yep.
And that's what you're paying for. This is where that whole thing about you get what you pay for comes into play. Would you rather pay your buddy Tim that knows a little bit about plumbing and might get it right, $50 to fix a pipe, or pay $150 to a plumber that's going to come in, knock it out in half the time, and you're not going to have water damage
down the road?
Down the road, like, and you get what you pay for.
Paying that $150.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Lamar. Get Lamar's mom, get you some. Get you some, Lamar's mom.
I think that's what happened when she had Lamar.
Cindy Jackson, whatever your name is.
I think that's what happened.
I think her name is Cindy. I think you're right.
Is it really?
I think she got some. I think she got some before she had Lamar. I mean,
she got. Saying. Oh yeah, that's not what I was talking about, Will. But yeah, good way to take this. Hey, can we play the cricket? Play the crickets, please, for Will. There you go. Thanks, Will. Will gets the crickets now. Yep.
But man, it's always great to sit and talk with you guys. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Final thoughts, Will, as the guest, you get to go first. Any final thoughts this evening, sir?
Gonna miss you, Serena. Best of all time. But in general, just stop looking at black athletes, period, in a box. Because at the end of the day,
athletes are people too, man.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say they're people too. So stop looking at them in a box.
Kind of the slogan of this show.
Yeah, yep. Stop looking at them in a box based on your preconceived notions, and appreciate, in Serena's case, the greatness that she presents, and the athleticism of everyone else.
Yeah, that's fair. Dick,
well done, buddy. Well done, Will.
Thank
well
you.
done, Will.
Thank you.
I would like to end it on that as well.
I'm gonna echo those thoughts as well. That's one of the core things of this show. When Dan and I started this, we would have countless conversations on the realization that people just forgot that athletes are people too.
Yep.
And so much of the landscape of sports is shaped by the fact that these are people too, and we're looking at them on the scape of, or they're just doing their job within like your fandom. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're just a fan, like that's what this guy does. Like, oh, he sucks, or oh, he's great, right? But within this, there's this underlying thing where all of them are individuals, and it actually affects the game more than their athletic talent at a lot of points. Like at a lot of points.
Yeah, those personalities have such a huge impact. And a lot of people don't think about the fact that personalities impact where somebody can get drafted or signed. You can be a great football player, but if the team is evaluating you and doesn't think that you're going to fit into the culture that they have in that locker room, you're not getting signed because they're not going to sign one nutsack that's going to shake up the culture too much and cause a distraction in the locker room when this other guy doesn't have as much talent, maybe a little bit of a difference, but is going to fit into the culture just fine. There's that was that movie. It was the first movie where we got to see, oddly, it was Scarlett Johansson and the guy that played Captain America, Chris
Evans.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson are in this movie called The Perfect Score. And there is one of the comedic relief guy, as they're trying to steal SAT scores, he says a line. He says, there's two guys in an interview. One of them's got this stack resume. The other guy can learn quick, has a great personality, and is somebody you can talk to and hang out at the water cooler. Which guy's going to get the job? The one that you can hang with at the water cooler. When you're a firefighter, when you're trying to be a firefighter, you go interview at firefighter, at firehouses with fire companies. They're more focused on if you are going to get along with the crew that they need you for than your abilities as a firefighter, because they can teach you to do what they want you to do. But it's hard to find the right personalities that will meld together in that firehouse.
Can't teach chemistry.
You can't. Yeah, exactly.
And thank you for reminding me. I'm still mad at you, Chris Evans, because how the hell do you go play the Human Torch straight into playing Captain America? You no good bastard.
Captain America is the Human Torch, Will. That's how.
That's how he was able to survive all that fire.
The plot thickens, Will, and the plot
had to be it.
What's really frustrating is that is the best depiction. Don't get me wrong, I love John Krasinski, but that was the best depiction of the Human Torch, and that movie was dog water.
Yep, sure, I was.
Those were
both of those
all kind of bad.
Yep.
The only redeeming factor of anyone in Fantastic Four movies was Jessica Alba. That's it.
Jessica Alba and Chris Evans, and then the guy that played Silver Surfer. For how the movie was written and how bad the effects were, he still did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he did. Give that.
Because has there ever been another decent live action adaptation of the Silver Surfer?
Isn't he Silver Surfer and another Marvel character though? Because he's one of the twins from the Marvel movies. Am I right about that? Or did he play the Human Torch and then play another Marvel character? He was one of the twins from one of the
no, he played the Human Torch
Avengers
and he played
movies.
Captain America.
Yeah.
No. No, I'm talking about
the actor who played Silver Surfer.
Yes, and he's one of the twins. Avengers movies. He's one of the twins. What are they called, Ben? Twins in the Avengers movies. What are their names?
Wait, hold on. I'm going to tell you who played the Silver Surfer in just a second. I just pulled up the IMDb page.
Yes,
Quicksilver.
Moves fast.
Wanda and Quicksilver.
Yes.
Wanda and Quicksilver.
So the voice of the Silver Surfer was Lawrence Fishburne, but the actual actor was Doug Jones.
He's never an actual person, right? So the guy who plays opposite Wanda, well, you were right. So it's Wanda Maximoff and then her brother
Pietro
plays a different character in a Marvel movie, does he not? Is he not a different, like that actual guy?
Yeah, he does. He plays a different character.
Right. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Who else is he? I thought he was like he was one of the Fantastic Four characters in one of those shitty movies. Is what I thought.
He may have been. Maybe he was in the remake. Hold on.
Because he was in.
I'm thinking he was Evan Peters, guys. I'm sorry. I just fucked that whole part.
Oh, you talking about from X-Men?
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Like Evan Peters, that's my fault.
First class. Yeah.
Same guy.
Yeah.
It's not the actual same guy. He looks like Evan Peters from American Horror Story. Okay.
Oh,
my bad.
yeah,
no.
X-Men First Class. Yeah.
My bad. That's how we should end it, me fucking up.
That's a great way to end it. I mean, you are a Nebraska fan, so it is par for the course.
Oh.
Yes, like that should be the ending. Me blowing the ending just completely personifies my Nebraska nature. Yes.
It's called that's officially called the pulling a Scott Frost.
We just got we were being frosty, just being frosty here at the sports report after dark. I want a frosty.
All right, man. Well, for those of you that are watching live, we appreciate your support. We thank you for joining us. You can catch, if you missed any part of the episode, by tomorrow morning, this episode will be available on Spotify, on the Sports Report channel. You can check it out. Don't forget to like the Sports Report Facebook page, where we will be continuing. We are starting to post reels when I remember to do it. And, try to get that stuff out more. So please, if there's anything you want us to talk about, give us ideas, because most of this comes from me, if not Will, or, a little bit from Will and Dan. And we could always use more fucking ideas, because we are not built for brains. We are built for our sex appeal.
We're built for speed. We're not built for
don't
speed.
forget also, guys, to follow. So head over to our YouTube page.
Yes.
All shows all shows are being streamed over there as well. So if you miss something, we'll be right there. That's Sports Report. That's Sports Report Fight Night. That's this show, Winter Meetings. They're all over there. So if you miss something, you won't see it in video form. Our YouTube page is up and open. Same with Twitch. Now Twitch is a little bit different. After a certain amount of days, episodes do get deleted off the server. But
you can always still catch them on YouTube.
Oh, go catch them on YouTube. Yes.
And if you don't like the show because Will talks like a black guy, I mean, obviously tell us that too, and we'll get that written down on this.
I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. Y'all got a deal.
Guys, that's a joke.
We will not
Y'all got a deal. I ain't going nowhere.
We will not try to change the way he talks, but we will mercilessly roast you on our next episode.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Because that is our favorite thing to do, is just say the most offensive shit about horrible people, because we don't have to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
On that note,
words of Tony Kornheiser, we'll try and do better next time.
On that note, we thank you for your support this evening. We will see you next week, Thursday night, 10 Eastern, right here on the Sports Report YouTube channel and Sports Report Twitch page. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week.
Free Fernando. Free Fernando. Fernando.
Take the best thoughts and put them on display, on repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past, start